It's a Friday, and we do thank you very much for your company here at the Uganda Catholic Television. I am Sunday Gloria Aboch with Uctv News. And now the Archdiocese of Mbarara Development Association, AMDA, has organized the annual Don Bosco Children and Teens Camp at Don Bosco Nursery and Primary School in Malawa, Kira Municipality. 2025 AMDA Camp, themed Anchored in Hope, pilgrims with our families and communities, sought to teach children the importance of hope and harmonious living within a community.
Archdiocese of Mbarara Development Association AMDA has organized the annual Don Bosco Children and Teens Camp at Don Bosco Nursery and Primary School in Malawa, Kira Municipality, under the theme Anchored in Hope, Pilgrims with our families and communities.
We bring our children together to be formed, to learn more about their faith, and also to learn more about what is around them. Our approach of this camp is a comprehensive approach to evangelization, where we have had the teenagers, the children, be the main animators of this camp. They chose the topics of discussion, and also they chose the leaders in themselves, and for us as adults, we are just observing and just guiding. The activities, the main activities of the camp are an understanding of this Jubilee, the gift of the Jubilee that His Holiness Pope Francis gave us, our children and young people to understand it, and also to see how best they can live it practically. We give our young people the thought of being a global person, not living only for themselves, but for every other youth, for every other young person in the world. How can they live with that person? And of course, it starts from the families to the communities and then to the world.
On day one, kids have been given different groups and questions to discuss and come up with answers as a way of promoting teamwork among them.
I'm a member of Dominic Savio, aka Group 2, and I'm here to present the second question they gave us as research work. The question was, describe some moments you felt you lost hope. And my first point will be when I was sick. As we all know in our daily lives, not all of us, but some of us may have encountered some diseases that where we feel like we may not recover or we might even die. So in the circumstance of such a disease, people might tend to lose hope. My second point is when someone you love dies. As children right now, all of us, most of us actually depend on our parents. So it will be very bad for any of us if we lose any of our very close loved ones, not only our parents, because we depend on them. If they die, we usually lose hope and feel like we cannot move on.
Presenting the third and the fourth question. The third is, have you encountered someone who has lost hope? How did you help that person? Or how do you think that person can be helped? So in our group, everyone has encountered someone who has lost hope. And we can help them by praying for them and put them in their prayer. For some people don't know how to pray, so put them in your prayer, and then you're praying with them.
Yes, many have encountered people who have lost hope. For example, one works on projects, but others say that he cannot do it. But the advice to that person is to ignore what they say and continue to persevere, because they have so much talent, and they should trust in God. I should trust in God no matter what.
Children have been encouraged never to lose hope in their environments because it does not disappoint.
Hope does not disappoint because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit that has been given to us. So that the moments that bring you down, every moment that bring you down, right? especially someone talk to repeating a class. That one can beat us. That's the reality, isn't it?
Yes.
How do you go through it? It can be a moment that brings you down. How do you go? It's only a hope that can help you when you really believe. Someone says that how do you go through this situation? By believing in God, strengthening our faith. I think that's good, that's nice.
M. Frank, Uctv News.
And as the Archdiocese of Mbarara Development Association AMDA annual camp begins in full swing, children and parents have shared their aspirations and goals for transformative event. With 2025 marking a jubilee year, many parents have enrolled their children in the camp to participate in various activities aimed at broadening their horizons and fostering moral development, teamwork and community building.
As the AMDA camp continues to impact lives of youngsters, different children and parents have spoken about their expectations and agendas for attending this camp.
Our aim of this camp is to teach more about our children spiritually and morally. Most of our children have lost hope, and the parents don't have time to teach them about the church. So why we organize this camp, we want our children to keep updated in church.
I'm so happy to be here. I've gotten to meet lots of different people, so I have made very many friends. Today is day one, but I can assure you that I have already learned a lot. I'm expecting to acquire more knowledge from the synod, and I'm expecting change spiritually and maybe socially, because I've met different people, so I know I have more friends.
I'm a member of this camp, and I think it's nourishing and it's a good experience for all teens and children to be exposed to such good talks, because this morning, as the previous comment had said, we had the rosary and morning prayers, praise and worship, and other good games that I think have left the children that have come to this camp joyful and highly spirited.
Yeah, this camp is really nourishing, and it's actually even my first camp to attend, and it's not all about having fun like most camps. It's education and religious. Yeah, yesterday we had mass, and today we had praise and worship, rosary. We have had enough talks, and yeah, these are really instilling enough value in us, because today we even learned about hope and what hope is in our lives, and yeah, it really gave us the real meaning of hope than the one we all knew.
The camp has really impacted a lot on my life, and I know that when I go back to school, I have a better way of handling my problems and challenges. And then I also I've learned ways of helping other people, like praying for and with them, encouraging them, like giving them words of encouragement and helping them out physically, like to actually solve that problem.
This being a jubilee, some parents have decided to bring their kids in the camp so that they can participate in different activities that will widen their scope of knowledge.
I've brought my children in this camp. I'm happy that my children are participating in this camp that is happening in this year, the Jubilee year, where Pope Francis has announced that the young generation also has to participate in their communities, in their faith, and this gives me hope that my children are going to grow up appreciating their faith, appreciating living together with others, the vulnerable, and themselves, because in this world where a lot of things are happening, we see a lot of domestic violence, child abuse, we see wars, we see disagreements, and I believe my children are going to learn to live in harmony with others, are going to learn values, moral values, good spiritual values that are going to help them in their lives to come.
M. Frank, Uctv News.
Human rights activists are calling on the government to cease trial of civilians in military courts, citing it as a violation of fundamental rights and a threat to the rule of law. This follows the recent arrest and sentencing of retired Colonel Kizza Besigye's lawyer, Aaron Kizza, to 9 months in Kitalia prison by the court-martial without trial. Led by Agatha Atwaire, the activists condemned the practice, highlighting cases of arbitrary arrest and military trials of civilians, including the National Unity Platform political prisoners, often conducted without legal representation or fair procedures.
Is something that has gone on for so long. The Constitution was, the framers of that Constitution knew what they were doing when they said that civilians shouldn't be tried in military courts. And the main reason is really that the military takes orders. It works on command. It doesn't work on law. I think you saw what happened in the proceedings of just this week in the case of former presidential candidate Kizza Besigye, and everyone was saying no logic, no law, no rationality, but it is orders, and we cannot get justice on orders. The Constitutional Court, which is a court mandated to interpret the laws and nullify those that are not in tandem with the Constitution, in 3 decisions said clearly that the military courts have no jurisdiction to try civilians, that they were put there to discipline members of the armed forces. These decisions have been ignored. They were stayed. One of the decisions was stayed, its implementation, in a way that was irrational, also by the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court had promised to deliver a judgment in the appeal of one of those cases, but it has been 4 years and it has not delivered this judgment. The appeal was in one case, so we do not see a reason why these other 2 cases that were also decided by the Constitutional Court are not being, the decisions of those cases are not being implemented. We feel that the judiciary is complicit in the injustices that are happening. We have tried as young people to raise our voices against these gross violations, but our voices and our efforts have been met with brute force. You saw what happened when we tried to march to the Supreme Court to express our dissatisfaction on the 9th of this month. That was last week. We were arrested. Most of us still are here. We were arrested, detained, taken to court. That's also the problem with the judiciary, that you are arresting people that have not committed any crime, that are simply exercising their constitutional right to assemble, to peacefully protest. And that is what happened with the protesters of the March to Parliament protests in July. And we asked every day with the campaign that we started, Judiciary on Trial, and that's why I made sure to wear this today. Why are you remanding people for exercising their rights? So even if we don't even start with the police that arrest us, the judiciary is the arbiter. It is the one that is supposed to dispense justice. These people can get there and it says they did not commit any crime. But common nuisance has become common nuisance, and I think for us they added that we were a common nuisance on the roads or something like that.
Welcome back. You're watching Uctv News. Now, the Minister of Health has urged the public to exercise increased vigilance to curb the transmission of Mpox, which is rapidly spreading within communities. Speaking at a media engagement in Kampala, Health Minister Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng revealed that the capital city accounts for 73% of the new Mpox cases reported nationwide. Dr. Acheng emphasized emphasized the urgent need for collective action to address the alarming prevalence, calling on residents to adhere to preventive measures, promptly report symptoms and support ongoing containment efforts to prevent further escalation.
According to the Health Ministry, Uganda has registered a cumulative total of 1,712 laboratory-confirmed mpox cases, of which 1,089 individuals have been treated and subsequently discharged. 169 still under medical attention from designated health facilities, and 10 lives lost since the pandemic outbreak in late July of the year 2024.
Unfortunately, 10 lives have been lost, with the majority of these individuals having underlying medical conditions such as HIV/AIDS, malnutrition, diabetes, and sickle cell disease. As of today, 169 individuals are receiving care in designated isolation and treatment facilities.
Dr. Cheng says that the established pockets of transmission in some Kampala metropolitan areas, including Wise and Kawala, are commercial sexual workers, border riders, commuter taxi drivers, mobile workers, among others.
An acceleration phase, which was from September to November 2024, that was characterized by sustained transmission among fishing communities in Luampanga sub-county and town council. Commercial sex activities in these areas seeded the outbreak in parts of Kampala metropolitan area, including Kawempe and Lubaga divisions, as well as peri-urban areas of Mukono and Wakiso. The Greater Kampala metropolitan area, comprising Kampala, Mukono, and Wakiso, remain the epicenter of the outbreak, accounting for 73% of the total cases. Transmission hotspots have been identified as Waise and Kawala.
Whereas the government has undertaken several measures to contain this prevalence, Dr. Cheng maintains that defeating the pandemic requires a collective effort between local authorities and members of the public, upon which she issued a number of guidelines including regulating brothels and public gatherings.
Local governments have been urged to regulate brothels, massage parlors, saunas, and unregulated gatherings that contribute to the spread of mpox. 7 is enhancing school compliance. Schools and training institutions represent congregate communities, coupled with overcrowding, leading to a high risk of transmission of mpox as they are high-density environments.
Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Chobe Henry Bosa alleviated fears of another lockdown or even curfew in Uganda, emphasizing that mpox transmission occurs primarily through direct or indirect contact. According to Dr. Bosa, this mode of transmission does not necessitate a lockdown.
Mpox transmission is contact transmission, as Honorable Minister highlighted earlier. And further to that, direct transmission by contact with somebody with symptoms, and indirect transmission by somebody who contaminates a surface or clothing, and then you get infected. And the contact, of course, expanding it where we have people in sexual contact. Wouldn't say it's a sexual transmission, but sexual contact as a means of transmission. So when you look at these are different from COVID-19 means of transmission. And the answer to this question is that there's no anticipation whatsoever that we shall either have curfews, either locally or broadly. So,
in the same spirit, Dr. Daniel Chabayinze, the Director of Public Health at the Ministry of Health, provided an update on Uganda's status concerning the Marburg outbreak, which has been reported in one of Uganda's closest neighbors, Tanzania.
We have teams on ground. The Ministry of Health has been using the alerts we received, as highlighted by the Minister, to sensitize and alert the districts, what we call Greater Massacre districts, which are borderline, so that they have their surveillance people and those gathering rumors of unexpected, unexplained deaths or people crossing the borders, like we did previously, in case of any unexplained deaths in the community. that will be the first signal that we have anything. However, we've alerted those districts the minister said, the 7 of them, Greater Masaka, including in Tungamo and Isinjiro as one of them, because they have borders with the Kagera region in Tanzania.
On behalf of foreign aid agencies, United States Center for Disease Control, World Health Organization have reiterated their commitment to supporting Uganda in containing the spread of Mpox.
Uganda is expecting to receive the Mpox vaccines next week. This is as a result of the global efforts of prioritization of Mpox outbreak, whereby the vaccines have been fast-tracked to help countries to be able to stop the transmission.
We've also committed to supporting Uganda's surveillance capacity. There are over 100 highly trained Ugandan disease detectives that are at the front line of identifying Mpox, managing the cases, and supporting them.
Joseph Kabale, UCTV News.
And finally, from the local scene, Dr. Higenyi Kanoti, a medical practitioner at Kira Health Center 3, has issued a strong caution about the health risks associated with habitual alcohol consumption. Speaking during a community health awareness session, Dr. Kanoti outlined the potential consequences of excessive drinking, which include liver damage, cardiovascular complications, weakened immunity, and an increased risk of mental health disorders.
Many people take alcohol for different reasons on different occasions, and today we are looking at alcohol as a substance and what it can do to a human body.
Talking about alcohol, it is these are some of the substances or the content which people take so often. You find some other people, they take it, it becomes like their daily meal, and they have different percentages. There are different percentages which people perhaps know.
According to the doctor, taking of alcohol comes with side effects.
I will start with the side effect of alcohol. I will start with it from moving from where it passes until where it gets out of your body. The moment you take in these substances, it goes into your stomach. It goes into your stomach. As it goes into your stomach is that part where your food is, after eating every meal, where it goes and digestion starts on it. So starting from directly from your mouth, this alcohol goes on. It has some of the burning effects, that it has some of the corrosive effect in the system, or in the GIT, what we call a GIT. It affects it much, and then too, it affects more of your appetite, because it suppresses down some of the other things in your body, in that you don't even feel like urge to eat. And as your appetite goes down, this will affect some of the other parts of the body. You're not eating well, so you end up being emaciated and losing weight and all those things. Because as your appetite goes down, even it attributes to your immunity. The food we eat is what gives us the energy, is what gives us the protective mechanism in our body. So the more you're not eating, is the more your body is also being affected. And then another thing, where does this substance actually go? After that one, then it goes into circulation. Goes into circulation where we have the liver, which is the detoxifier of our body. It detoxifies every toxic substances, and these alcohol substances, they usually have toxic substances. So it is your liver that is responsible of detoxifying it. So it detoxifies. So as the more you take, the liver keeps on detoxifying. So the more you take, the more your liver also becomes tired of detoxifying, and you end up having issues with your liver. Once your liver is affected, there are more other organs which are also affected. So we start from the liver and we end up what we call multiple organ failure. Other organs are affected. Other organs also end up failing, like your kidney end up failing because it picks up some signals from the liver. It's unable. Some of these toxins, they are not toxified. They are not removed well. They end up reading it, ending up to the kidneys, and also your kidney affected. Alcohol suppresses down your immunity, because it your body is overwhelmed with a lot of functioning, those detoxifications and you end up your immunity being affected. And then also talking about also the social bit about it, it also reduces your level of respect into your community as you with people the way the people respect you may not be the same way. People end up seeing you as someone who is not useful, and it affects your performance of work as well. The way you've been performing, you may not perform in that way. You're unable to do some other things. You're unable to do some other things the way they're supposed to be done.
M. Frank, UCTV News.
I am Sunday Gloria Aboch with UCTV News. It's time now for Today in History. And with that marks the end of our Friday edition of UCTV News. I am Sunday Gloria Aboch, and I wish you the very best of the weekend and the coming week ahead.